Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Ni no Kuni. Let's continue. We're trying to restore Esther's missing courage. Or, actually, I think we're restoring Alma Moon's missing courage. Like, I don't know who Esther really is. Because I don't think... I either missed the single sentence when I introduced the character as Esther. Because... like, when we talk to this guy... Let's see. Alma Moon is the city that we're in. And then we have the father and the daughter. And either the father and the daughter is called Esther. And I must have just missed the sentence where it was whoever was mentioned as being Esther. But, I guess maybe it is the girl is named Esther and she's missing courage. And her heart is locked down, which might mean we have to do something slightly more. But maybe not. Maybe this guy is named Esther. I guess we'll just have to talk to the people and see what happens. You again, how many times must I tell you I am not... His name is labeled as Rashad. Mr. Rashad, sir, we brought it. We brought the piece of the heart that your daughter is missing. You brought what? What, are you deaf or something? He said he can fix your daughter. Truly? Sure, Mr. Rashad, just leave it to me. But I do not know why, but I have the strangest feeling you are telling the truth. Of course he is. Look at that face, Moon. Butter wouldn't melt. Very well. Then I beg of you, bring her back to me. Heal her heart. Yes, sir. So this is the Father Rashad. And this is Esther. And she's going to become our companion. But there is a problem here. Amongst many problems that I rambled about in the last recording. In that, are we somewhat roofing Esther to become our companion? Like, once you start, like, messing with people's minds and emotions and giving them enthusiasm and giving them courage, you're changing their disposition. Now, arguably, maybe you're changing them back to its original form, so it's not as bad, but since we know from the trailer she joins our party, is she going to join our party really from her own free will? Or because she's just going to be so overflowing with courage that it's going to send her down the path of joining our party and joining a fairly dangerous sounding mission? Like, we've seen Esther is heartbroken and because of Shadar, and we are literally going to try and take down Shadar. Now, what's odd also about Shadar is nobody seems to even know that the White Witch exists. Like, completely, it seems like Shadar is the only character that anybody in this world has ever heard of. So the White Witch herself may be some kind of multi-world bad guy, and that the idea is that there might be a Ni no Kuni series in which the White Witch is attacking multiple worlds. Although the trailer does seem to indicate that she is really only interested in this world, which I still haven't caught the name of this world. Here she is, Oliver. Interesting that she would know your name even. Huh? Tidy. It's just like I thought. We've opened her heart back up again. You can now mend it for her now. It is also very weird to have the whole soulmates thing happen here. She seems to know Oliver's name, not because of her own knowledge, but because he helped her soulmate in Motorville. Which at a certain level, does the idea of soulmates and characters being influenced by their soulmates implies that there really should only be two worlds, and that the worlds are very connected. It would be very much in line with a Japanese RPG if we got a backstory at some point that said this world magically was split off from Motorville's world in the real world, and they once were one combined universe. You can now mend it for her. Don't worry, this will take only a moment. I'm going to give you Myrtle's courage. I also have to point out the localization of these names. Perhaps not the best pick ever. Myrtle, Esther, Oliver, Mr. Drippy. Even when it's a fictional name. None of these really roll off the tongue for little kids if this really was supposed to be a little kids game. Although, I think at this point that's out the window. It just does not feel like a little kid would sit through this. I don't think even a slightly older kid would sit through this. Which oddly paints this game in a weird niche of just being for adult fans of Ghibli movies, of which there's probably a decent amount, but not enough to make a video game around. Yep, her heart's wide open. Just fire that courage and Bob's your uncle. Alright, so give heart. And it's still by default filling out the one you're going to give. It's kind of weird they skipped one here. And you're obviously going to get the labels once you've collected at least one amount of a piece of heart.
What is this?
The animation there is different from what we see normally.
Where am I? What happened?
Very British sounding voice acting.
You stole a piece of your heart.
My heart?
Is it you, Esther? Is it really you? Oh, my dear daughter.
Father!
Oh, forgive me, my child. You were robbed of.
I don't know if we really need the dust effects in this scene.
I have only myself to blame for the loss of my own. Oliver, it is you who taught me this. You have my thanks.
You're welcome, Mr. Rashad.
Yeah,
I will join
here you can hear
against Shudder.
Rashad sounds Middle Eastern, where
When the clarion
Esther
will
sounds
come
British.
to land once more.
The Clarion?
Oh, it's an old story from way back, that is. Back when the world was at peace, like.
The three kings of our world combined their skills and knowledge to create a flute that symbolized the great peace. The sound of this flute came to represent the unity of the nations of the world. How long is it now since the call of the clarion was heard?
Not since the three kings got into a right old potch and fell out, I heard.
It's up to us. The clarion will ring out again, and we will be the ones to play it.
Very well, daughter. Let us do our best. Let us help Oliver in his fight.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rashad, sir.
So, yeah, if you were definitely going for that Harry Potter feel, it would make a lot of sense to have Esther sound like a British person with a British accent. But it really, once again, just highlights the weirdness here. And that Esther would say Rashad as her father and vice versa. And you could have certainly written a line of dialogue at some point. It wouldn't have even had to been voiced. It could have been that Rashad adopted her when she was young because her parents were killed by Shadar. That would give an even vengeance plot line for Esther to join your band and make sense. Or he could have called her his apprentice instead of daughter and say she was like a daughter to me. Let me come with you, Oliver. I want to help fight Shadar. Yep, we saw that coming. I have a familiar to help me, just like you. Here, boy. Well, you can fight with familiars too, Esther. So here will be an interesting question as to, is she going to be called a wizard or a witch? Because while you are creating your own world, I wouldn't be surprised if translating from Japanese to English, they decide to just call her a witch anyways. Indeed, she can. Esther's talent lies in training and handling of familiars. She's more of a familiar keeper than a wizard, is it? Fair enough. Useful folks to have around, they are. So, they're not calling her a wizard or a witch. This is my Drongo. His name is Gogo. Say hello, Gogo. Esther and her familiar have joined your party. You get no choice in the matter. Tidy. Now that's settled, let's get down to business. As you remember what young Oliver came for here, ain't it, Rashad? Mr. Drippy, I do. You wish to learn the arts of the sages, do you not? I suppose it is also worth pointing out that showing more of a backstory around a magical flute that gets rung out in times of peace and 3 kings maybe means at some point we will need to collect the flute as an item, like a Zelda collectible item, like a Triforce, but it might also very well just be them telling backstory for backstory's sake. It is definitely a delicate balance that I don't think this game is doing kind of the greatest job of, as far as when do you tell backstory of recent history versus world building of ancient history versus current events that are just occurring as you speak. I wish to learn the art of the sages, do you not? Yes, sir. Then you will need these spells. Puppet string. Maybe that is going to let me levitate and move some of those chests we've seen. Secret ingredient. Maybe that is going to help us with cooking. Magic lamp. I assume that's just going to light up areas. Pulse. That's probably an offensive weapon. And it is odd for the game to give you 4 spells in a row. It feels like it would make sense to have to do a little bit more to get those spells and deal with Rashad a little bit more. But it kind of feels like this is going to be the end of it, and we'll never see Rashad again. Thank you, Mr. Rashad, sir. I'm satisfied that you do not lack the determination required. You came here from another world to face Shadar after all. You knew about me coming from another world, I mean? It was your actions that revealed your origins to me. You healed Esther's when I could not, which told me you must have helped her soulmate in the other world. And the only one who called the world home could have done such a thing. Wow, so Oliver is from one of the other worlds, plural? So there are multiple worlds you told me about, Father? And he was the one who saved me? Yes, it's strange. It feels like I've met you in a dream or something. I guess that was probably a line from Esther to Oliver. Oliver, it seems there are things that only one such as you can do. You may be able to help our world. You shall have my aid. Thank you, sir. I won't let you down. I will beat Shadar. Perhaps, but you will need much training first. Without complete command of the magical arts, you can't hope to defeat him. The 4 great sages could not overcome the Dark Djinn. For a mere boy to do so would require more than enthusiasm alone. What are you thinking? He's going to need to cram a shed load of experience under his belt in a heck of short amount of time, ain't he? Indeed he is. The kind of experience offered by the trials of the sages. Oliver, you must undertake them. So now we are getting sent on a major side quest that's probably a full act change would be the best way to describe it. Trials. Where do I take these trials? In the north of the desert at the Temple of Trials. The Temple of Trials, you mean? I do. The home of the Supreme Sage, Master of Familiars. You too have much to learn, Esther. Only those with the Supreme Sage's blessing are permitted to open the doors of the temple. I will accompany you. Thank you, Father. You'll be great at the trials. Oliver, I know you will. Thank you, Esther, and thank you, Mr. Rashad, sir. I was not expecting Rashad to join the group. Alright. So this puts us in kind of a odd position. Let's see. We want to go around and see if we can find what somebody might have as far as courage, and see if we can refill courage. So this guy has kindness. So we'll grab some kindness. And so we have enthusiasm and kindness. We may or may not run into courage. I think these two quests have already been done, so I would suspect this guy. You cannot have it back. I'm not finished with it. What's wrong with it? Yesterday you told me you would return it. Hey, you two, stop fighting. What's the problem here? Problem is the thief will not return the picture book I lent him. It's only a picture book and a poor one at that. Who cares? I care. It was a birthday gift. I must give it back. Stop bothering me and go away. Crikey. Either he has a broken heart or every ounce of kindness squeezed out of it, or he needs putting over someone's knee. You think he's broken-hearted, but he seems so lively. Well, it depends on which bit of heart's been stolen, ain't it? Changes your personality in all different ways, it does. So, let's start this task. And give him some kindness. So he returns the book. We'll try and skip through as much dialogue as possible, because last thing we want to do is make this game go longer. And that's the normal give heart animation. So, finish that quest. Get some more stamps. If I can finish 3 more stamps, we will potentially do we have any other green? There's some more green down there. So if this one needs kindness, we may have to go collect some kindness first. But if this one needs enthusiasm, So this guy wants ingredients. Fluffy rice, tender beef, and a pinch of Sikh special sauce. Okay. The Sikh is probably in here. Can we just run in here? Nope. Tilapia. And so the game is not telling me how to get to the castle, so I'm assuming I just can't do that. This is a quest I think we've already started, and this is a quest we've already started. I guess we can also look at our inventory as far as ingredients and other things. We have tender beef. We definitely don't have the Sikh special sauce. We have Esther's clothes. And just continuously trying move and organize things for kind of no reason. Yeah, just moving things around for kind of no reason. Yeah, so we can see Rashad is traveling with us, but is not considered a companion. How much gold do we have? 600? It probably is somewhat beneficial to try and equip our familiar first before we do anything else. Talk to this lady. Right, so she has some courage. Let's go ahead and take some courage and skip through the dialogue. And once we have all 8 pieces of hearts, since it seems like there's usually only 2 people that have pieces of hearts you can collect or get, you're probably going to spend a lot of effort to always have a full amount of pieces of hearts. Some of these quests though, like I just picked up 3 of them and I didn't read any of them at all. So it's very likely that I will not be able to figure out what to do until I take the special effort. We could probably go over here and see the Seek of Spice. Talk to the man and ask him what's wrong. Cat's Cradle. Right. Okay, bye. So we could get a spear and upgrade that for 300. We could get defense and upgrade that. Defense and magical defense for 150. And we could get an increase of defense by 2 for 400. We could spend that. I think what we'll start with is this. Just massive increase of damage by 1. Equip that to her. Hopefully I didn't already have that spear. And buy this. Okay. That leaves me with 175. Otherwise, it does kind of feel like the way this is set up is that you will really only focus on one character per companion. And if you get to that 2nd row or 3rd row of companions, they're either going to be using it for... You're going to be in trouble and fairly desperate at that point. Right. The other thing I guess to ask is, do we have any like new spells or tricks? Let's see. If we were to do this instead, since Sandblast doesn't feel like it really works. Sharpen could be Pebble Pelt instead. Let's see. What is Healing Tier? I don't think we want to use that. This guy, we still don't have any cloaks. We haven't even seen any equipped. Well-worn sword, wooden shield, battler's badge. Flint spear. This element of water might mean that the frost spear could be better. It would definitely be better in magical attack by a couple, but it would lose physical attack. So I guess we'll have to probably find how that really works. This one's looking for scales. And then we're going to try and get the familiarity up. It's probably not going to... The danger, certainly, that you're going to come across on this is that there could be this slight fear that Go-Go and Esther might disappear in parts of the game, or she might just leave your party at parts. There have been instances of that. I believe there's a Final Fantasy game in particular where a character shockingly gets killed in the middle of the game, and all the experience and all the items on that character just straight up get lost. And so even if you didn't care about the character, which most people really did care about the character, you would still feel a loss for your investment. Right. So here's the spice guy. And he looks like he's missing enthusiasm. Audio's still doing its thing, and I doubt that it will ever stop doing its weird thing. Since we now know it takes a little bit more time to fill out a stamp card, then I'm gonna have to question whether I shouldn't perhaps wait on getting a reward. 2 McCrude and 3 generous pinches of spicy seeds. Right, and we'll have to probably finish that quest by giving him those elements. Oddly, we still don't have a quest with this guy. Which it seems like we will at some point. So he wants courage. And luckily we have courage, but this is the last of our resources. Yep. Carrot cakes. And we don't see any green dots, so there's no more pieces of heart to collect. What is over here? That's the fast travel spot that we still haven't been able to use. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think it's fully worth it to turn in one stamp card at the moment. We should probably move the story forward and try to have some actual gameplay. Are we as equipped as we want to be, or is there some food we could buy? I think there might be some food we can buy. This is the food place? Nope, this is this place. Well, let's see. Occasionally making your foraging more fruitful versus making it easier to sneak up on people, or additional restorative gleams to appear. Yeah, it would make way more sense to fill in another stamp card and go for this than to try and sneak up on people or increase foraging. And honestly, if I had not made the mistake of getting Jumping Jack, which is not very useful, it even says so, I would be at that point. So that's one of the things certainly that's, I think, a problem with RPG games, is that to have a decent experience or an abridged experience, a shorter experience, you really are going to have to go online and plot things out and plan things out and have a strategy guide with you. These are definitely games designed around the idea of selling strategy guides in the old days. Like, they're practically impossible to beat a game like Final Fantasy 1, I imagine, without some level of persistence or assistance in the form of a strategy guide. Boy, this feels visually clunky. That might be because of the amount of people following me now. Maybe this engine really can't handle that many characters on screen at a time. Or it might be because it was trying to load into text and I was trying to move at the same time. This is the first time I've been out of Alma Moon in ages. Haha. Are you sure? And you sure do look happy about it. Esther, the purpose of this journey is to take the trials. You're not wrong, Mun. This ain't a flipping day trip, you know. Get moving. Alright, lead the way. That's the spirit. Now let's hang on a minute. Did that sand by there just move? It flipping did. Mun, it's a monster, ain't it? Right then, Ollie boy. Since you're going to be fighting with Esther from now on, I better teach you some new moves, ain't it? Ready? You too? Yes. So it literally just let me it literally just let me walk when it really should have immediately jumped into this kind of cutscene. We also now see that there is a group of 3 monsters where we'd only been fighting 2 up until this point. We also heard Esther in her very British accent say "here we go" instead of Oliver saying "here we go." I kind of hope they jump between the 2 of them so that it becomes as least repetitive as possible. Now, what I assume is going to happen here is Esther's moves are going to be completely automated, and she's just going to fight with us, and Oliver is going to be in charge of his familiars and himself, and that'll be the only person we control. But looking at the left bump and right bump signs, maybe that's not the case. Now that you and Esther can fight together, Mon, double trouble, tidy. Now there's two of you. You can pick who leads by when the battle starts by pressing left bump or right bump. Why would you have Esther lead ever? And particularly if this was a kid's game, and let's face it, if it was a kid's targeted towards kids, Japanese people would assume it would be targeted at little boys. Even in the West, you'd mostly assume that it would be targeted at little boys. I think very few little boys would decide to play as Esther. On top of that, Esther not having spells is a bad decision, unless she's got something else she brings to the party that we're unaware of. Plus, she has fewer familiars. On the other hand, maybe you can sit back and relax if you let the computer control Oliver, and then Oliver is casting all kinds of spells and playing perfectly, and then Esther can just be the hanger-on. Why don't you give it a go? Go on, pick Esther. Yep, and so it calls out her name, and we have I'll give it all. And seems like they don't want me to summon that. They instead want me to play directly as her. She has a musical weapon, which I was not really expecting that. Now that Esther's in charge, instead. See, she's what's called the leader now, and the leader can boss everybody around. See the tactics commands down by there. Alright, I see it. You want me to select it, pick it, and you can tell all your buddies what you want them to do. Easy peasy. And to change the leaders mid-battle, just press the left bump followed by a tap on the old up D-pad or down D-pad. Okay. Now get out there and enjoy being a gruesome twosome. So what does tactics do? We can say, do what you like, give it your all, provide backup, keep us healthy, don't use ability, don't do anything. Alright. Target, attack different targets, attack the leader's target, attack the weakest target. So there is a small level of scripting here. And she's asleep immediately. So I guess at that point we do this, and then this guy's... I just got healed by her. Let's see what Pulse does. 46 damage. See, but really, if you want to switch to things, you're gonna really struggle here. She seems to have a very weak attack. What does her song do? Restores health. Right, so he's just casting spells like crazy. Still out our character. So you get a different in-scene based on who the leader is. Well, you've got a lot of XP that's being shared overall. But generally, we can kind of assume that Esther by default is a healer. Her songs are her magic, and she will heal the team. Her character that fights alongside seems like it mostly is going to focus on probably being a magic damage dealer or a healer also, which is great news because that's what we've needed. Several times up until this point we have had problems with dying, and now we have the Phoenix Feather that maybe will help us not die now that we have two characters, and we have a healer that will help us not die. So I think while the game forced us to play as Esther once, it pretty much expects us to never do that again, and I expect I will never do that again. Fine work, Oliver. Your magical abilities are indeed impressive, as is your rapport with your familiar daughter. Rapport being another really big word for a game that's supposedly it looks like it's for kids. I do my best. No, Oliver, I love to try fighting with your familiar sometime. Huh? You can do that? Of course, all you need to do is switch your familiars around. Okay. Just select friends and familiars from the main menu. Trust me, it's really easy. Select a familiar, press X, and then choose where you want it to go. Do that, and we can swap familiars. Gee, that's pretty neat. I had no idea. Hee hee. Yes, you can control my Drongo as well if you like, Oliver. In fact, everybody has a familiar that they get on especially well with. Use the type of familiar that's right for you, and their performance will be much better. You can check what types of familiars you get along with by selecting the friends and familiars from the main menu. Right, enough chit-chat, you two. We need to get to the Temple Trials, ain't it? Indeed, it's located in the northeast of the Shimmering Sands. I suggest we head there immediately. Alright. You're not going to take any kind of damage for being in the desert. Alright. So, Esther potentially could get to level 12 instead of a level 10 Drongo. And, or potentially could get this character. Let's see. We have to come over here to this one. Esther has Time Worm, Harp. Okay. How would I know if I get along with somebody, though? Probably makes a lot of sense to balance these out somewhat. Favorite groups here are those. So when you select it, it says favorite genius, but I don't know if, like, okay, so you see in the top right where it says Drongo, there's a little picture of like a yellow fish that matches, so that is her favorite genius. This is his favorite genius. This character doesn't match either of those, and this one doesn't match either of those. So, yeah. We may get to a point where there aren't that many geniuses, because really we know there's only enough room for one more character to be in the group. So, yeah. There either going to be characters that are just not the favorite genius of any of the characters, or we're going to just find it, or we're going to not have that many familiars. We may not have that many familiars. This may very well be a case where there's actually only 9 familiars in the entire game. Alright, so we're just gonna run up here. It seems slow, and it may be a case where I've lost my ability to run because people are following behind me, and that's why it feels slow. We won't run into any forests, I assume, in this area. But it also might just be that there's too much texture in this world. All this brown rocks may be too much for them to handle. And I am gonna have to just assume like that giant monkey, or the monkey up there on top of the giant rock, is actually just an area you can't access, and same as I'm assuming true for that glimmering foraging spot. I wouldn't be surprised if things just randomly spawn anywhere, whether you can reach them or not. The Temple of Trials lies on the other side of this gorge. Perhaps this is a good place for a moment's respite. Flipping heck. And I'm glad you suggested that. I'm a forest fairy. My fairy suit ain't even sandproof. We're stopping already, but I could go on for ages. Yeah, really? Aren't you even a little tired? It's so hot. You'll endeavor far worse in the Temple of Trials, Oliver. Geez, so the trials are pretty tough, huh? Indeed, that's why you must get some rest. I will keep a watch. You will sleep. And stay close to the fire. The desert grows cold at night. Alright, Mr. Rashad, sir. So they wanted to give us a cutscene. We are totally done with the flat 2D cutscenes, it seems like, for a fairly long time. Maybe we'll see 5 more at most.
Most people wouldn't dream of taking on someone like Shadar.
Well, it's my mom.
This dialogue, by the way, is what was in the trailer.
Your mother?
Yeah. She died, saving my life. But Mr. Drippy says there's a way to help her here in this world.
So,
the fire animation here is pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
And it kind of highlights how the backgrounds and the characters feel like they're animated by completely different teams or different styles.
Huh?
Doing all this for the sake of someone you love. I just think that's amazing. I wish I had as good a reason as you for making this journey. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean I wish that...
It's okay.
But... Shadar is incredibly powerful. He breaks the hearts of anyone who defies him. So no one dares to resist. And they say no one can defeat him.
I know that. But I have to.
You have to try, right?
Yeah.
It's so strange. You don't look powerful in the least. But somehow, I just know you can beat him. I wonder why.
Thanks.
Anyway, enough of that. It's late.
Okay.
The description of Shadar as being somebody who breaks the hearts of people who defy him so nobody tries to resist could definitely be interpreted as an abusive parent father. Like, again, the fun interpretation you could have here is that Oliver does have an abusive father, and that he is just in his fantasy world turned him into a dark djinn and removed him from a reality narrative. So it could have been a case that in Motorville he did have an abusive father, and then the mother left the abusive father and took Oliver with him, and then the mother died, or that even Motorville in that reality is also not the real reality. Of course, those are the unfun interpretations you can take. Certainly, it's more entertaining to assume what everything we're being told is true, even if it doesn't really ring true. Good morning, Oliver. Did you sleep well? Not really. I guess I'm a little worried about the trials. Oh dear. Well, I hope you won't doze off in the middle of them. Though, I have to say, I didn't sleep very well myself. I kept thinking about that girl, my other self. It's so strange. She's not like me at all, but it doesn't feel like she's a different person. Well, soulmates are funny like that, ain't it? Different but the same. They're profound. Anyway, are we taking the trials or what? Oliver Esther, the Temple of Trials lies north of here. The tests that await you there are unforgiving, but I have faith in you. Thank you, sir. Let's go, Oliver. I want to show you how brave I am, just like Myrtle did. The innocent goodness of the heart of the great sage's daughter has unlocked a story in the wizard's companion, my other self. So, I'll probably have to read that at some point too. Doesn't look like there's anything else here. Kind of a tight step to have to walk up. Almost felt like I was going to have to hit A to enter the temple. They didn't actually show any bedding around that campfire or tent or anything, so I guess they just all slept on the ground. The temple at last, the trial awaits. Blimey, it's properly impressive, this place. Shrouded in the air of potent mystery it is. It would have probably been smarter to just save yourself some animation, since Rashad has only been animated as a 3D standing character. He could have simply said in Al Mamun that he was going to go to the Temple of Trials and wait for you there, and then you wouldn't have had to animate him following you, since he's not really a companion. Although arguably I think that is going to be a criticism that starts to pop up of Ni no Kuni, is that they seem to have wasted their budget on animating things, or overly animating things that don't need to be animated. You can see on the back of the Temple of the Trials also there's 2 dragons, so maybe this will be related to that dragon story. Did you expect less from the sacred haven built to train the mighty sages? Did you train here, Mr. Rashad? Of course, all who bear the name sage must pass the trials. So Alicia would have taken the trials too. Oliver, to become a sage, the candidate must possess purity of heart, breadth of knowledge, and mastery of both spells and familiars. The temple both tests and tempers all of these qualities. I keep turning my head just to check my clock. Sorry. And if we can't pass the trials, there's no way we'll ever be able to beat Shadar, is there? Precisely, but even the gifts granted you on passing the trials will not be enough. You will need far greater power to defeat the Dark Djinn. Well, I guess we better just focus on the trials for now, huh? You're ready. It's time to release the seal. I guess it makes sense if the trials are dangerous to seal the doors, but at a certain point it also feels like if something was going to be a place that tried people and let people see if they're good enough, it should be open to all. Although it may very well be the case that magic was limited to an elite few in the old days. You could definitely have a narrative where Shadar was forbidden from becoming a sage, and that's why he defeated the sages out of anger. Beyond that door waits the supreme sage. It must be opened by your own hand. Yes, sir. It's weird for Oliver to say sir in kind of a kid's fantasy, because let's face it, kids don't like those kinds of honorifics. Japanese people love those honorifics, and so Japanese kids would say things that are the equivalent of yes, sir. But Western kids don't like any of that, and there's kind of a real good reason to not like any of these honorifics, or the idea of just because somebody is older than you, they automatically should be respected. It's a bad message to send. It is definitely an appeal to authority that is impressed by schools and teachers in particular, who demand to be kowtowed to more than even respected. They say respected, but they really mean kowtowed to often. So this is a great sage, and he has that symbol. This is the supreme sage.
Your Honor, we have come to perform the trials.
It feels like we'll get to fast travel after this point.
Not me.
Huh?
Sage.
Oh,
That's just my stupid servant Umbopa.
Hmm. So it's a little kid. Huh? Crikey, we got the wrong one? Hmm. I can't, but once again we've lost our voice acting. This sucks. I can't believe it, the Supreme Sage is just a sweet little boy. Sweet, erg. Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I don't care, I am sweet, and clever, and handsome. I'm just so modest. I don't like it when people talk about it. I see. How did you lot get in here anyway? Only people with my permission are allowed to open the front door. It's been a long time, Your Honor. Is that you, Rashad? Blimey. When did you get so old? You're ancient. But you have not changed at all, I see, Master Solomon. Did you know my father when he was young? Hee how strange. Father, you mean you're? Yes, Your Honor, I present my daughter, Esther. Please forgive her rudeness. Hee I don't care. What I care about is you having a daughter. How did that happen? You were always so shy and rubbish. Oh, well, congratulations anyway. What are you doing here? What do you want? These children, Master Solomon, Oliver and Esther, I would ask them you allow them to take the trials. Really, if you're recommending them, you must think they're pretty good. That, or you've gone bonkers in your old age, haha. I see great potential in them both, but they lack power. Beginners, are you? And you want to get stronger? Why? What for? I need to. I need to defeat Shadar. What? You beat Shadar? Do you realize what you're saying? Don't you? See, this is weird to me because it makes it feel like Supreme Sage Solomon has been trapped, has been sealed in this, like, temple for a very long time. And so Shadar apparently has been around for a much longer time than I thought. Because I was thinking 10, 20 years maybe Shadar has defeated the sages. Maybe even 40 or 50, but it kind of feels like if Rashad you assumed was 50, that we are going, that would imply Shadar has been around for closer to at least 60 or 70 years, defeating the sages. There wouldn't be a way he really would have known about Shadar if he'd been isolated and sealed in the temple. Of course, I'm assuming he would be isolated and sealed in the temple. He may just also be capable of staying young. Yes, Your Honor. And I'm going to help him. Oliver helped me, and now I'm going to pay him back. ... Fine. But the trials are hard, really hard. I know, because I made them. We're ready, Your Honor. Ah. It looks like you might be. Okay, I'll let you do them. Thank you, Master Solomon. We'll pass the trials, you'll see. A lot of dialogue here that's kind of unnecessary. Yeah, my thanks, Your Honor. Then I will take my leave. They keep calling them Your Honor. I wouldn't be surprised if in Japanese that's something closer to Sensei is what they're using as far as an honorific. You're going already? Boring. You should stay here. What's wrong? Scared to see them fail or something? He's right, Mun. After all we've done for you, you at least can stick around and see these two through the flipping trials. I cannot. I have duties of my own to attend. I will not remain a banana seller forever. I must prepare to walk the path of the sages once more. That's not the real reason, is it, Father? Why are you so desperate to go home? Don't you see he wants us to take the trials without any help? We have to prove we can make it on our own. You're right. Okay, Oliver, let's do our best. Good luck with your preparations, Father. Don't sell all the bananas, will you? Of course not, my child. When you complete the trials, you shall have all the bananas you could wish for. Good luck. Come on. All this talking is boring. I agree. Let's start the trials, shall we? Go and ask stupid Umbopa about what you have to do. Yeah, Okay. So, first things first, let's refill and save. And we can look at the map and see that there's probably 2 paths, so there's probably 2 trials. Umbopa will explain the trials you will listen. There are 3 trials. First trial is the test of wits. Second trial is the test of friendship. Pass the trials, and there's a 3rd trial, test of strength, the final trial. But first you must pass the first 2 trials. The first 2 trials are in the trial rooms to the left and right of here. To learn about these trials, ask the trial monitors in the trial rooms. Good luck with the trials. Saying the word trials too much. Okay. So here's the problem here. Test of friendship. Oops. I wonder if you were supposed to memorize that. Well met, this is the test of friendship, and we're talking to some kind of flaming bird. The road will open only to those who trust each other and walk forward as one. Stand atop each glowing switches to begin. I can't do anything here other than control Esther and Oliver. Right. You have to, I think, move fairly quickly and fairly in line, but the path is kind of rough. Right. No. So the problem here is we are probably about 11 hours into the game, according to its own internal clock. And this is the first time we're doing something different. And if this was going to be more of an adventure where it was always just throwing something new at you and having you play with a completely different gameplay mechanic, that would be fine. But it's a Japanese RPG. That's not really what it's going to do. The vast majority is going to be the same fighting over and over again. And while this is a slight breath of fresh air, it's not quite not quite enough of that to really justify. Falling doesn't do anything to you. Okay, good to know. It's not taking like your health away or anything like that, which could have been definitely a problem. Controlling 2 things at the same time, though, is not super easy. And particularly having a whole timer set around all this. If you were going to try and control everything at once, it's not going to really happen. And if you were a D-pad player and you had different controls set up, this is not going to really work for you. It's fairly slow, I also have to point out. Let's just do this. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Yeah, the fact that that took multiple tries is a little scary. And I wonder if this means that we're going to potentially struggle here, or if this is going to be potentially the end of it. This is one of those Sonic game problems too, where you basically have to know where the pieces are going to appear before they appear. And if you don't know that, you're going to mess up and just fail. And it's not the exact same path. And I doubt it's a case that I could just fall downward and reach so that we were both on the same path. Clearly, this is also a sequence that would not really be so playable once we have a third character, because there are only 2 analog sticks in the game on the controllers. This would also be a nightmare game to try and play with a mouse and keyboard. I have no idea how you would really pull that one off. Let's run this way and then see where this takes us. That's funny, he did drop down. And I'm glad that was only 3 things, because that could have gotten very frustrating. Also, wouldn't be surprised if this is going to give me an achievement for either doing just that one trial, or for doing all 3 trials. I probably will get an achievement for all 3, if anything. I hear pretty said you proof of your achievement. You now have proof of friendship. Stay together in the face of this hardship that await you, and believe in one another above all else. Do so and you will always prevail. We will. Thank you very much. I think it's once again important to point out that I'm playing on easy. It doesn't feel like that sequence would have been any more difficult or any easier if I was playing on a different, on normal setting. And that since that was a new style of gameplay, I could definitely see people getting frustrated and just straight up rage quitting, trying to accomplish that. Test of wits, on the other hand, should be fairly easy, particularly if this is actually for kids. Well met, this is the test of wits. The powers of perception and reflection are key to solving this puzzle. Show me your wisdom upon which your kind prides itself, child of man. Child of man is a phrase I think from like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Right. So it seems to me like we're going to have to cast a spell. What spell would we cast? Puppet string, which I guess explains why we have this. So we can select a statue. You have 2 that fly, 2 that are on the ground. So, what's the actual puzzle here? Drippy, go on, boy. Show these Charles who's the best. What was the trick here? So we can hear a hint. Also feels like since puppet string costs magic, we may run out of magic. The problem is I can't even really see this character. Give me a hint, I guess. The dragon sees the warrior's sword, while the bird is shown his shield. Meanwhile, looks to his right and sees an empty field. Okay. So it does seem to me like you had to have gotten that hint. So to his right, an empty field. And the dragon here. And that doesn't really feel like that could be quite the answer. It feels like it should be something like this. And an empty field maybe means that the guy flies away. The dragon sees the warrior's sword, while the bird is shown his shield. So the dragon and the bird should be opposite. Meanwhile, looks to his right and sees an empty field. Which leads me to believe, as I'm running out of magic power, really feels like there should be a way to get extra magic power here. It's either going to be this, or it's going to be putting the lamb on the other side. I may, if I run out of magic, have to abandon the test. Definitely feels like the game should have told you to hint first and made sure every single player heard the hint. We'll probably have to do that 2 more times. And there could have been a room where the magic pellets just drop quite a bit. And while we can run, we can't jump up on this, so this is going to be a tile puzzle game. Will this guy give us a hint? Might as well hear the hint. When they who lie above are one with those who lie below, the gateway will be open and onward you go. Okay. So it does seem like we're going to do something very different here. Alright, so that looks good. This one's probably doesn't belong there. Let's see. That one probably belongs there. These angles a little awkward. Guess that might be right. That's probably that one. I feel like these should have been locked in more permanently once you put them in the right place. Not quite right, though. Now we have only 21 more. I guess the idea here would have been to potentially hold on to this and not undo it until you were fairly 100% certain that you were in the right place. There's no rotating going on here. That looks right. That looks right. I think that looks right. Is there any other corner place where this could be? Well, could be there. Could be there. So the real trick here is to definitely only cast a spell once and didn't just constantly move things around. Otherwise you are going to waste your magic. Again, once you solve the puzzle, a bunch of magic could drop down. Now we have a very complicated looking puzzle. The bird is bound to the dragon and the moon, and on a star he sits. The beast links warrior, moon, and star, and yet knows not where he fits. Yeah, and I frankly almost should write this down. The bird is bound to the dragon and the moon, and on a star he sits. So the bird could be in any of the corners, or he could be on the stars instead of the suns. Let's assume that the sun is not being considered a star. The beast links warrior, moon, and star. Warrior, moon, and star. So the beast probably is in either the top left or the top right corner, yet knows not where he fits. Oh, I get it. The bird has to be on top of a star, and the lines have to join it up with a moon and that dragon there, ain't it? Even Drippy is helping us there. We have 16 magic points left. Right. So what this is, I think, going to really boil down to is something like this, where I think I'm going to have to just kind of constantly move things around. It may be a case where one of these, the beast connects a moon and star and yet knows not where he fits. This may mean a case where you have to actually see them, so that eliminates this one and this one as being a possibility, leaving only this one and then the rest of these. They say beast, but I guess beast does not include bird. So you could potentially just try and brute force the whole thing. But it wouldn't give you any real feedback that way. And I do question if it isn't a question of two possible solutions existing. I guess the good news is we would know the other two answers to the puzzle, so we could run through this a second time. The bird is bound to the dragon and the moon. Okay. And on a star he sits. So the bird going up one, possibly. The beast, it links the warrior, moon, and star. So the beast has to be in the corner. Warrior, moon, and star. And yet knows not where he fits. The bird has to be on top of a star, and the lines that join up it have with a moon and a dragon. Right. Seriously, I can't even remember. Bird, dragon, moon. Okay. I literally can't even remember all of that and keep that in my head at once. It's just too much. Bird, dragon, moon, sits on a star. So, bird, dragon, moon can't be here. It's gotta be here. So those two are probably right. And then that leaves Beast connecting to the warrior and not knowing where he fits. I know there's more to this than that. And if we get the right position, it should work. It would make a lot of sense if this was the solution. We got one last chance. 6 magic points. The bird is bound to the dragon and the moon, and on a star he sits. We've got that, that's right. The beast. The beast links the warrior, the moon, and a star. The warrior, the moon, and a star, which means the beast really has to be in the top left corner. Last chance. And if there's another puzzle, we're totally out of magic at this point, so we've lost. And that would be the absolute worst way to fail. Excellent, you've demonstrated your wisdom, you've passed the test of wits. I hereby present you proof of your achievement. You now have proof of wits. I don't know what all of this really goes. Keep your eyes and ears ever open, the knowledge you gain will serve you well. It's not always brute force that wins the day, often the word is mightier than the deed. I understand. Thank you very much. The word mightier than the deed is an interesting phrase. Or a way to translate something like pen is mightier than the sword. You have passed the first 2 tests, not bad. Esther didn't play any role in the wits at all. Wits test. She should have been standing around there cheering you on at the very least. Now, because it's now going to feel like really only Oliver passed all the trials and she didn't. Now we know you're good friends and you're not completely stupid. We also know my powers of encouragement and support can work miracles. Tidy. Hey, you had nothing to do with it. Anyway, Oliver, it's time. The final test. What is it, Master Solomon? Everyone knows that. It's the test of strength, stupid. This is a test of your combat ability. You've guessed what you have to do, haven't you? We're going to have to fight somebody, huh? Oh, aren't you clever? But not just anyone, hee. You're going to have to get your heads beaten in. Oh, you're going to get your heads beaten in. Oh, but I didn't want him smashing the place up, so I've prepared a special place for you to fight in. Anyway, you probably need a rest first, so you're so small and weak. I'll be waiting here when you're ready. Yes, Your Honor. It's definitely worth it to save. And I will just overwrite the save anyways. Is there anything more we can really do? Give some magical attack carrot cake to somebody and see if that works. These proof of friendship, proof of wits look different than the spirit of the woods and spirit of the glade. Seems like we are getting a lot of kind of generic items in the important items category, from which we may very well just never use. Let's see if this guy likes carrot cake. No, not really. See if this one likes carrot cake. Yep. Well, we found what Sid likes. Is magical attack increase. Good. Well, that at least points us in a direction. We still really haven't done any fighting though, so Mighty's still not. That didn't really help us any. Of course, we could cheat now and load back in and just get those, give all the treats to Sid. Now that we have that knowledge, it's not really worth it. It's time for the test of his strength. So your wimps ready? Yes. That's what I like to hear. Good luck in there. You'll need it. So where does this last trial take place, Master Solomon? In my special secret place. Watch this.
Door, up from the floor. Abracadabra.
Abracadabra. I have expected him to just open a trapdoor and make them fall down. Amazing, he conjured a door out of thin air. You have to go through it to get to where the test of strength. This place, it's a little place called the Solaceum. Tidy, you ready for the final test, Oliver boy? We have to pass it. We just have to. I'm ready. Come on, you guys. I have to say, as a Westerner who is used to seeing like childhood adventure tales be all boys, it feels a little weird for a girl to be in the group. Of course, probably Japanese people are not so much familiar with those kind of Stand By Me type experiences. Stand By Me, the one I'm thinking of. A lot of the Steven Spielberg movies, like The Goonies is a great example. There's several boys, not a single girl in the whole group. Right, this guy is deadly looking. Let's see. See what smash hit does. Got loose. Got loose barely doing anything. Smash hit was better. Esther got knocked down there. Let's... Oh boy, this beast here has got a big old shield protecting his back, ain't it? Better give him a whacking from the front, I reckon. My health just got healed. I was gonna go ahead and try pulse. Yep, pulse. Looks like it's good. It's gonna be weird if we have more than 5 spells, though. We can see Esther has sent out the other characters. Alright, we are now out of attack stuff, out of magic power. Do I have a spell for healing touch? Nope. Provisions. Can't bring her back. Ooh. Okay, we're in probably trouble. So Esther, Esther is down, her familiar is down. I don't know if we can do too much here. We can eat a sandwich and bring our health back up. But unless I want to attack this guy myself for a pathetic amount of damage, all I can really do is try to get some stamina back. I moved quite safely there. I wonder if there's a way to like cancel defending. Yeah, apparently I could probably defend canceling. I see a little health and a little bit of magic here, so if we grab that and then we miss the magic pellet. Let's see, provisions, white bread. This is a little too hands-on still. She's just here and you can just walk through her. But I can definitely see a problem here where let's get this gold and see if this works. Slash dance as a final attack. How much damage is this gonna do? 86? That's a massive amount of damage. Yeah, this kind of highlights though how these fights can get very dangerous. It's very easy to lose still even playing on easy, and you're still very much at the beck and call of whether or not you know actually how to time things and play correctly. So them describing easy mode as being something that for people who are more interested in the story, I just don't kind of really believe that, because that's still a pretty big difficulty spike, and we really at this point have to throw out the idea of this being a kids game. Like, I could easily see kids struggling with that battle multiple times. He passed the test of strength. So we've gotten 2 orbs now for 1 victory. We did it, Oliver, we did it. I don't know why Esther's so happy considering how she was knocked out halfway through the fight. We sure did. That's the last trial, you passed them all. Oh, I've got a graduation present. Here. You now have a bridge spell. And a broom spell. We're getting spells like crazy. New spells. Thank you very much, Master Solomon. Tidy. They look like proper useful ones, too. Of course they are. Stupid. I wouldn't give them rubbish ones, would I? Anyway, it's time for the main event. My specialist subject, familiars. I'm going to teach you the secrets of creature taming. Creature taming? Oh, that sounds interesting. You're a bit annoying, but at least you're enthusiastic. Okay, let's talk about serenading. What's serenading? It's just about, I'm just about to tell you, aren't I? Stupid. It's something you can't do without a special instrument from us for a start. And here we have another character calling Oliver stupid. Again, in Japanese, saying stupid baka could be done in a very friendly, lovingly way, or it could be in a very insulting way. I think in some part they are writing the Supreme Sage Solomon as being kind of abrasive on purpose. An instrument, so that means, yep, leave it to me, Oliver. I'd better give you it before we carry on. Umbumpa, master. She already had a harp, so I guess she's getting a better harp.
Master.
So we're gonna...
Here, take this. It's called the Heart-Winning Harp.
She's gonna play spells so we can capture familiars
Wow, it's beautiful.
when we fight random characters outside in the overworld, I assume. That was literally like 5 words for voice acting. You can definitely feel they ran out of budget. You obtained the heart-winning harp. It's not just beautiful, it's useful too. You can play it to tame creatures and make them your familiars. It's probably easier to show you than explain. You're quite slow after all. I prepared 3 creatures for you to tame. Pick one you like the look of. This is very Pokemon-esque. Yes, Your Honor. You can tame creatures during battle. Try it out with these ones. Don't look so scared. They're my pets. They won't attack you. Wimps. But how do I tame them? Well, every now and again, when you beat a creature, it will be so impressed it will fall in love with you. If that happens, yucky hearts will appear above its head like this. Oh, that's sweet. Game dangerously getting a little too girly for a kid's game, which I'll keep saying for a kid's game, even though really it's not. So we obviously wouldn't have been able to tame anything so far. Or anyway, when you see the hearts, it's time for you to play a serenade. If you manage not to mess it up, the creatures become tame and join you as one of your familiars. Now the danger here is this is going to be like Ocarina of Time playing the Ocarina, and instead of it being an interesting little gimmick you can do, it becomes a somewhat odd, maybe even a little difficult rhythm game. That seems simple enough. Doesn't matter who beats a creature, it can still go all gooey and girly and lovey-dovey, but only you can tame it, Esther. So if we want a creature to join us, Esther has to play the song. I just said that, didn't I? Stop asking stupid questions and give it a try. Yes, Your Honor. But which one shall we pick? Why do we have to flipping pick? Can't he give us the whole lot of them? The stingy old so-and-so. What's the matter? Spoiled for choice? Well, when you finish moaning and groaning, just let me know which one you want me to give you completely for free. Alright, well, the thing here is we probably have this class. Probably don't have this class or this class. Boo hee hee. This one's called a Boggly Boo. It may have a stupid name, but it can scare the pants off people even worse than me. It packs a hefty punch and can learn some pretty nasty tricks too. You should definitely choose this one over the other two. They're rubbish. Stupid one's called the Shonky Honker. It's got good defense and magical attack. It can put enemies to sleep, as well as a bit of an all-rounder, I suppose. Should definitely choose that one over the other two. They're rubbish. The cute creature is called a Naiad, so there. It's not very good at normal attacks, but has some decent magic ones. It's a great healer, so it's helpful to have around. You should definitely choose that one over the other two. They're rubbish. I think we'll just pick this one in the middle. Have you decided which one you want to be a brand new familiar? Yes. Ready? We might as well do it the same way as you do when you tame a creature in a normal battle. In case you've forgotten, that means you have to beat the creature up, then get Esther to play a serenade on her harp. And don't wet your pants, I've told them not to attack you, so you wimps don't get scared and run away. Now to the battlefield.
Here we go.
Okay. Right then, daughter of Rashad, are you ready? You're the only one that can use the harp, so you better try it out, hadn't you? Okay. So we are as Esther. We can't switch between. Right there. Listen, there are 3 creatures here. You have to pick one. Pick one to be your new familiar. You know how to tame a creature, don't you? First, you have to beat it in battle. These ones are friends of mine, so I've told them not to fight back when you bash them. Well, come on, beat up a creature that you want to be your new best friend. Well, that is a kind of bad message to send. Certainly. But she has a attack that's an area of effect attack. So she's hitting actually 2 characters at once. I assume the game is going to also not let me just knock out the character. But we'll want to be careful not to overdo it. Okay, now we see a heart that pops up immediately. Ah, look at that. It's up to on its feet again. Creatures do that sometimes when you beat them in battles. See those yucky pink hearts over its head? That means you can tame it. If Esther's near a creature with hearts over her head, she can use her tame command. Then she can choose to play a serenade to tame it, or let it go back into the wild. But if you don't choose quickly, it'll run off. I've told these ones not to run away because you're beginners and you're probably rubbish. So, serenade. Did she say happy birthday there? So this probably does set up the idea that we won't be getting any more familiars just handed to us. Then we'll get one more companion, he'll probably have a familiar with him, but after that everything else is going to have to be captured. And this does now open up the Pokemon-esque nature of this game that I suspected was going to happen, in that we potentially need to go back to every place we've already been and try to capture at least one of each character. It is going to heavily be dependent on whether you really need to grind up and level up your character, though level up your familiars enough to want to go through that many battles to capture new creatures. We'll always try to capture new creatures because it doesn't seem like it's costing us anything. It doesn't seem to cost gold. We don't have to have something like a Pokeball equivalent, where in Pokemon you would have to buy Pokeballs. So it seems like it's worth a try always. We did it. We tamed a creature. He not bad for your first try, I suppose. Like I said, anyone can beat a creature, but Esther has to play the song to tame it. So you'll have to work together if you want to get more familiars. I know it's hard for selfish brats like you, but you'll just have to try. Yeah, that seems excessively insulting. Yes, Master Solomon, we understand. Neato, huh, Esther? Oh, and you can have 3 more familiars as well as the one you use in battle. Tidy, but what happens if we get all overexcited and tame more familiars than we've got room for? Then you have to speak to a little friend of mine. Look over there a second. So this isn't a fast travel station, this is a Pokemon Center? What a funny little thing. Is he a familiar too? Don't be stupid, that's the rep from the familiar retreat. He'll take any familiars you don't need off your hands and keep them safe back at the retreat. Oh, there's useful. Looks like you'll be keeping busy then, eh, Esther? I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see what kinds of creatures there are out there to tame. You can find familiars retreat holes in every town you visit, and even in some dangerous places too. I think I've seen them in places we've been already. Hang on. Look, your familiar's ready to metamorphose. Which familiar is about to metamorphose? I guess that's what they're going to call evolving. And in all fairness, Pokemon, if they could go back, probably wouldn't call evolving anyways. There probably was a small percentage of people unhappy with the word evolving or evolution used. Meta what? Blimey, you have to teach you about that as well, do I? You don't know anything. Fine, I'll teach you about metamorphosis too. But give me a break first, will you? Explaining this is going to give me a face ache. Alright. So, I guess we will learn about metamorphosing in the next recording. This is a bug type creature, and so yeah, he doesn't match either of our characters anyways. So we now have a box down here with 3 reserves. It feels like that might expand to as many as 8 reserves later on, as far as having different Pokemon. I don't know if the reserves, or they're not called Pokemon, the monsters. Well, I don't even know what they're familiars is what they're called. I though would definitely have to question whether we get XP for the reserve familiars or not. We made it to chapter 19 now, and the game is getting complicated. The side quests, and we've done some more side quests and errands. We really haven't done any more bounty car. We haven't done any more bounty hunts. As far as all the pages in the book, we did get several pages, and we got a new companion. Kind of made a lot of progress, but oddly not that much. We can see, as far as this map of the world, there's not too much for this center island area, and it does seem like very quickly we're going to end up on the ocean so we can reach some of these other locations. I don't know what these red stars represent, but I would suspect they might be some big bosses. Spells specifically, or maybe hitting about 50% of all the spells. I wouldn't be surprised if the game holds back only a couple of spells. Still haven't really figured out any kind of crafting element or alchemy element. Yeah. I assume our first guy is about to metamorphose. So I guess the question will be whether we're given a choice as far as whether Might will turn into Mighty Might, or Dynamite, or Marmite. What's interesting here is the diamond symbol seems to indicate the kind of food that he would like to increase your familiarity. No, it's the kind of items he will drop when you fight them in the open world. How much of these stories have we unlocked? Well, you have this My Other Self story that you could have read. We don't, I think, have enough to read the second tale. This is the 6th tale. Seems like they are going to jump around quite a bit with the tales. As far as the life lessons, we have assembling your allies new. Let's see. Befriending familiars and familiars retreats. There's a 25 that we're missing. There's a number 9 that we're missing. So there is clearly still some very basic things in the minds of the creator that they still haven't given us. It's that often kind of feels like the way things go in JRPGs is that they're constantly trying to just show you more and more content, and you're seeing something new even in the last 5 hours of gameplay. And that can be a good thing, but it can also be a little off-putting in that there very well may not be ever a point where you feel like you've fully mastered a game. We can see with these character numbers, though, if we ignore the 300s and assume that we can't tame these characters, which I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there is going to be a late game quest to go back and tame each of these characters, you're still hitting somewhere around the 300s. And that number does not really balance out for the number of creatures we've seen, nor does it really make sense for the number of creatures we could potentially have. We have apparently cleared the Temple of Trials and done 100% of that, where we didn't do 100% of anything else. So the game does feel like it's going to encourage you to go back to every location. And our overall progress report is now saying that we are 27% with the Wizard's Companion, 9% with the Creature Compendium, and 9% with the Task Complete. So there is a lot of game here. Still to do. And once again, just through either the way I am moving slowly through the game or through the game itself moving slowly, it has taken another 2 hours to get through what probably should have been about 40 minutes of content. And that's with me not really trying to read a lot of the dialogue and trying to move as fast as possible. It definitely could be the case that I play this Japanese RPG game all the way to the end, and then I am just so exhausted because it took so much time that I'm not going to be particularly open to the idea of playing any other Japanese RPGs for a while. That probably was going to be the case anyways, but whether that means I need a year's break versus 2 or 3 years break, or maybe just a couple months break, that's the big question I'll have to decide. And I can't do it now. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.